Hello, my dear friend. Thank you so much for joining me once again. I am so glad to see you. I believe that today too, we are going to learn something very important that will be helpful for all of us. What I want us to learn is from the Bible. It is in Genesis chapter 26. It's the story of Isaac, the patriarch Isaac. Now, this story illustrates how God can bless you and I with plenty, even in the midst of scarcity. Now, in the story, there was famine in the land. There was hunger in the land. And the Bible says this is unlike the one that had happened before. In other words, there was a famine ahead of this one. And that famine took place during the time of Abraham, the father of Isaac. Now, during this time, Abraham, that is in chapter 12, Genesis chapter 12, we are told that when there was famine in the land, Abraham went down to Egypt. After Isaac, later in the life of Jacob, there was another famine, which is in Genesis chapter 46. In this chapter, verse 6, we are told that when there was famine in the land, Jacob and the entire family went down to Egypt. However, in Genesis chapter 26, we read that when there was famine in the land, God commanded Isaac not to go down to Egypt. God asked him to stay in the land where there was a drought. He went to Gerar to be with the Philistine king. And then God instructed him not to go down to Egypt, but to stay in Gerar. Remember, this is a place where there was famine. There was hunger everywhere. So why would God ask him to stay where there is famine? If it is you and I, the question is, will we obey? I am talking to you on a kind of obedience that is illogical. In other words, it doesn't seem to make sense. Without questioning, we are told, Isaac obeyed and stayed in Gerar. But when you read further in verse 12, we are told that apart from just staying in the land where there was no rain, there was famine, he also sowed in that land. And that is what I want you to take note of. He sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. And the Lord blessed him. In a land that was struck with severe famine, we are told, when you continue verse 13, and the man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous. Some versions will say he continued to prosper and he became a very rich man. The point I want you to note is that it was in a land where there was famine, where there was scarcity, that the man sowed and he reaped in the same year. In the same year that there was famine, in the same year that there was scarcity, the man was able to get 100-fold. And the Lord blessed him. And because the Lord blessed him, the Bible says, the man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous. That's in verse 13. Simply put, listen to it. He trusted and obeyed God, and then God blessed him. There was famine in the land. God asked him to stay in the land, and he obeyed and stayed. That can be done only if you trust God enough. He obeyed and stayed, and so God blessed him. The truth is that when we trust and obey God without questions, even when his instructions don't seem to make logical sense, he blesses us to the extent that our success doesn't make logical sense. Let me take this again. When we trust and obey God without questions, even when His instructions don't seem to make logical sense, He blesses us to the extent that our success doesn't make logical sense. The success of Isaac will not make logical sense. It doesn't make logical sense to reap 100-fold in a land that was struck with famine. It doesn't make logical sense to stay within a land that was struck with famine and become very prosperous and grow to become very rich. But that is what the blessing of God can do. The point of my message to you is that learn to trust and obey God, even when it doesn't seem to make logical sense, and God will bless you. I'm talking about illogical obedience, and it comes with illogical blessings. I trust that you are going to keep your trust in God no matter the situation. Remember, He has the power. He can help you. He can bring something great out of the famine that you are finding yourself in. May God bless you and have a good day. Once again, remember to subscribe to this channel if you haven't, because I will keep on posting more videos. Subscribe and click on the bell, and you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.